I think we're three of the happiest, most fulfilled people I know. And I mean, it's simple. It's really simple and it's fulfilling.
Growth junkies.
We're growth junkies.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey guys, I'm here today with two of my favorite minimalists, Conor and Andrew. And we have this beautiful shot set up, and so I thought it would be a really fun time to talk about what we love about minimalism, or why we love being minimalists. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Freedom. I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons why minimalism as an end to itself is pretty cool. There's, you know, small and simple is beautiful, and there's, you know, you're making less negative impact on the environment, you're helping it in that way. But for me, minimalism is a tool to achieve freedom, and freedom isn't a guarantee of happiness, but it's the best assurance that you're going to be able to achieve happiness that I know.
I've talked about it a couple of times in some of my videos that, like, for me, clearing out space externally opens up space internally, and that's been really true as I've let go of things outside of myself that don't make sense, be it stuff or be it relationships.
Yeah.
I create more space inside to connect with myself, develop more compassion and self-love, and approach the world from that space, which feels a whole lot cooler.
I think freedom is a huge draw for people, and it's freedom from things, but it's freedom from like this mental clutter, which can take so many shapes, and like relationships and just all these other things.
I mean, like, I didn't even know that I was becoming a minimalist when I was doing it. I was just sort of, I started out like changing my diet and eating a little cleaner. That felt really good. I started reducing the stuff around me, realized I don't need to live in a house. I'll go live in my garage and rent my house out. And like, stuff kind of unfolded naturally to where I am now, which is like one t-shirt, a pair of shorts, and people in my life that I really love and care about.
I would agree. I think that there seems to be this catalyst for people, and it's not always the same thing, but either whether it's coming to minimalism and realizing, hey, my life would be simpler with a healthier diet, and then the vitality of that making them look at their life in a new perspective and seeing that I'm doing things in a way that is not really optimally set up for my happiness, whether it be relationships or spending most of your time taking care of possessions, stuff owning you, or, you know, I think it's often the other way around. People improve their diet, or I don't know, I can't even remember the sequence of what I just said, but
yeah, but it goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways. So whether it's minimalism leading to like these other, like cascading into other areas of your life, or maybe starting with improved health and just going to minimalism.
Yeah, I really noticed that too. I guess that's an interesting thing. Like, we all embrace a plant-based diet, and we all really tend towards other areas of life that it could be seen as like healthy and minimalist. And I just think it's so interesting how you find people that are on one of those similar paths, and they tend to have a lot of areas in common with you that they're pursuing.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because you're attracted to things that feel good, and once you start feeling good in your life in one area, you're like, oh, I guess maybe there's more out there where I can feel good. And I think a lot of the time that's kind of going against what has been given to us by the dominant culture, and realizing, well, I don't have to do it that way. Oh, well, gee, maybe I'll change everything then, do it my own way.
That actually reminds me of something else that I really love about minimalism, and for me it's taken on this broader sense of like really stripping down labels, and not just labels, but approaches to life.
Yeah.
Like just kind of doing things my own way. And I've loved the freedom and the like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it the way society's doing it or telling me to, so I guess I'm really going to make it up as I go along. And I love how minimalism has allowed me to be more unique and authentic. And I think you guys are also really like unique and authentic, and it's inspiring.
Well, I think it opens up, if you are a minimalist and you carry it to its logical extent and you start looking at, well, how can I be a minimalist in terms of earning my income? How can I be a minimalist in terms of owning very few things and carrying them around with me? It starts to make you think that you can do things that society says is crazy, like going and traveling out of a backpack for a couple years at a time, backpacking around Asia or Europe or wherever, and you know, these things, that's like, well, are you rich? No, I'm actually poor by your standards. I've just created freedom through my lifestyle choices.
Andrew, one of your areas of expertise is diet, and so I'm wondering if you can just mention like a couple of the connections you feel between like having a plant-based or raw vegan diet and minimalism.
Yeah, well, there's huge overlap. So it's kind of like, you know, you can't really be financially independent if your health is in ruins, and even if you manage to afford health insurance, and now we've got the Affordable Care Act in the US and such, so it's easier to get, but you know, if you just can't be traveling around in poor health. You need to be in good shape. And so it's like, well, if I eat simpler, the healthier foods, more the plant-based stuff, my health is going to improve, and so I have more freedom. And it's like, well, now that I've got that better health, what do I want to use it for? And suddenly a whole bunch of minimalist activities open up. It's like, I mean, what do we do together? We throw each other through the air.
Yeah, we all just use each other's bodies as weights.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, now I have my favorite hobby, which costs me nothing, is open up to me, and that's because I have the vitality to do it, and I got it through dietary improvement. So I see some huge connections.
Yeah, I also feel like it's just generally the most simple diet you can eat. What are you going to have for food? I'll pick this fruit off this tree, or get it at the grocery store or the farmer's market. But it's so simple. A meal can be made without like any preparation. One of your areas of expertise is like self-love and self-compassion. And I'm wondering like the connections that you feel between that and minimalism.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I've really noticed a connection between clearing things out externally and opening up space internally to really get to know myself. I think we spend a lot of time distracting ourselves because we're having a difficult time with living the life, living the existence that we've been sort of assumed to. Like, we think we have to do it a certain way. And we have parts that really don't want to do it that way.
Yeah.
And when we start loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves through following our passions, it's like there's this obvious connection that starts to happen. Clearing space out externally, opening up space internally, and connecting with ourselves from a more compassionate place. Because so many of us don't want to be doing the things that we are doing in this life. And if you start making these little small changes, like, I don't need to buy that flat screen TV, maybe I can save this money for a trip, or go on a walk in the woods instead of sitting down to a computer game, or whatever it might be. A small little instant like that can tell yourself, I love you. And when you start building those things up, the momentum starts going, and before you know it, you know yourself.
Another common thing that we all share is this desire to explore, and I guess to explore the world comes to mind. So many people, they want to go remote with their jobs and they want to travel the world, and we've all done that. And are there any, I guess, tips that you'd give to people who are interested in having more freedom so that they can travel?
I would say, I mean, it kind of is like repeating the same thing over and over again, but it's just kind of, you see these connections. So you want freedom to travel? Well, you know, well, I mean, I can use myself as an example. I had a stressful job as a newspaper reporter until I quit my job in 2010. I had a little bit of savings, but I had a business, like a fledgling business that wasn't earning me a ton of money. But I got rid of my apartment, and I got rid of my car, and I got rid of most of my possessions, put them inside 2 backpacks, everything I needed to run my life, moved to Asia for 2 years, and built up a business on the fly. And so I moved to a place where the cost of living was low, and yet I was fulfilling a love of travel, which I had like yearned for many years. So I just see the connections as huge there. It's almost painful to be a traveler and not be a minimalist.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, really?
It sucks.
I remember when I was in Laos, I remember seeing these tourists, and they could not walk down the street from one hostel to another with their bags. They had to hire a tuk-tuk because they had like 4 bags apiece, and it was like loaded, huge suitcases.
What do you have in there?
I know, it's like their ironing thing. I don't know, but it's just like your possessions have become such a burden that you can't even travel in peace.
That's so well put.
Yeah, and what comes to mind for me is also a personal experience situation where, like, this is 3 years ago, I was just starting to kind of change my life and getting an understanding of what I wanted in the world, and I saw that a lot of people who were eating a plant-based diet were visiting Thailand. And I remember laying in bed and watching some YouTube videos and just being like, oh, one day I want to go to Thailand, you know, and just having this teeny little spark, which is hope, which is a dream, which is an inkling of something you're passionate about. And I was so, like, I just felt it, you know, and I let that momentum build until maybe 3 to 4 months later, there I was in Chiang Mai, just blown away that I did it. And similar situation, I kind of left a career that I had been building for 10 years as a general contractor. I had a little bit of savings, and I just made it happen. I wasn't really thinking too far into the future at that time. I just didn't want that spark to die.
I love that. I think that there's a connection between all of us and like the success we've had, and that's like believing in ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's
and
huge.
Freaking going for it, and also the like refusal to settle any longer for like a mediocre life.
So if you did decide to do that, how much would you have to numb yourself to be able to be okay with it?
With leading a mediocre life.
Yeah, because it's kind of like I have a video series like how I trick people into becoming monkeys, and it's kind of like, you know, you start improving your health and suddenly you start caring more about what you're doing with your life, and it becomes unbearable to just do things that you don't care about anymore.
So true.
And so you follow one of 2 paths. This is scary, it requires me to totally change my life, and I'm gonna go run back and I'm gonna eat unhealthy foods, I'm gonna like do everything I can to numb myself. Or you follow that path and it's down the rabbit hole, and you don't know where it leads, but it's gonna be somewhere magical.
I really agree with you. And like once you start, you just don't have a choice anymore. You really can't go back. And I've noticed for myself, like every once in a while there'll be some old patterns that come up. It's just me doing the best I can do in that moment to take care of myself. But ultimately I wake up the next day and I know that I don't have a choice. I can't keep doing the things that I used to do in order to kind of numb myself and feel good, because I've seen the full spectrum.
Yeah, and you don't want to
and
anymore.
you don't want to, no.
And it feels so good. Like, I think there may be an idea that it's hard and that it's like, but it's not, like, there are parts of it where, you know, you're rewiring or you're just doing new things, and it may be a little uncomfortable, but the truth is it feels so damn good. Like, I think we're 3 of the happiest, most fulfilled people I know. And I mean, it's simple. It's really simple and it's fulfilling.
Growth junkies.
We're growth junkies. Wow. Well, I feel like we could talk forever. Like, there's so many areas that we all share in common and are so excited about. If you guys haven't checked out these guys, their YouTube channels, I'll put up the links. They're awesome. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up?
I think I'm good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you guys. All right, bye.